trip was on that. So that's the background on it. The tour was named Into the Green from the agency that I took it. And I offer this picture to illustrate that because that's Ireland. That is the countryside of Ireland. It's every shade of green you can imagine with rolling hills and just these nice little parcels of, land for grazing and so forth. And it's just really poetic and inspiring to see that. We started in Dublin and then we went south and around up to Dingle and then Galway and Londonderry and then Belfast, and then we went over to Scotland. So, I mean, the pictures will follow that itinerary, so you'll get a rough idea of the route that we took.
Yeah, the arrows. You're gonna go right. There you go.
No, we gotta go. How do we advance?
Wrong glasses. Hold on a second. The arrow should work. Let's click here. Whoops.
Oh, I can just click.
You should be able to, is that?
All right, yeah, okay.
Okay,
all
so
right.
yeah, now, because it was not on. the screen.
Okay, Ireland. So we're starting in Ireland. So we ended up starting our trip in Dublin, and in true Irish fashion, it was pouring. And I said, I'm not going to let that stop me. So I put on my so-called raincoat that I brought with me, and I grabbed my camera and off I went from our hotel looking for cool things and so forth. And within about a half an hour, I was soaked to the bone. These water resistant things that they pass off as raincoats in this country, they are no good, no good. But once you're wet, what the heck? So I kept walking and I came onto this section called Temple Bar. As a matter of fact, I was looking for Temple Bar. Every bar in this area was called Temple Bar. I'm like, which one is Temple Bar? Well, the whole area is called that. It's a little bit like the French Quarter
Like a neighbor.
of Dublin, and that didn't slow down the Dubliners at all. You can see they're all out with their umbrellas and their, boots and all that other kind of stuff, but it's very colorful, lots of flags, very colorful buildings and so forth. So I slipped into one of those places. These guys were playing music, so it had a very merry attitude, and they were serving the house drink, which is Jameson and ginger beer. It's actually really good for those of you that like those components. So I had a few two, and talked with some of the locals and took in some music and dried out a little bit before I headed back to the hotel. After some time, the sun started coming out and just created the most beautiful light. It was just pouring through the clouds, and so it started coming through. You could see it just illuminating the space. And this is the River Liffey. It goes through Dublin out to the Irish Sea. And this is the Custom House, which I thought the architecture was beautiful and the way the light was falling on it was just really great. And along the quays here, you see they have the longboats, the tall boats, that's still used as a sailing structure in the areas, juxtaposed against this very modern bridge across the river. It's the Samuel Beckett Bridge. It also looks really kind of stunning in the nighttime because it's lit very beautifully. And, there's so many puddles. Who can resist a reflections shot?
FYI, when I went to Scotland, I bought a raincoat over there.
I bought one in Ireland.
Did you? Because they
And
work
I bought
really
one in
well.
Iceland.
Oh, did you?
So I'm geared up for rain now. So one of our stops was in Trinity College, and this was founded 1592 by Elizabeth I. Trinity College is sort of the Harvard of Ireland. And so it's a very venerable institution. It's one of the best, universities in Ireland, and it is the proud home of the Dublin Four writers, Samuel Beckett, Oscar Wilde, Bram Stoker, and Jonathan Swift. I mean, they're top notch. So they're very proud of that, and they had a lot of the Dublin Four, the Trinity Four memorabilia and the gift shop and, that kind of thing. But it was a beautiful campus. It's done in the academic architectural style. And so I always enjoy that. I really like college campuses. One of its claims to fame is the Trinity Library, and I'm sure you've all seen pictures of this. There's really only one shot. This is the shot, and if you're lucky and you can get up on this balcony and get a little elevation on that, that's the better shot, but they weren't letting people up there when we were there. So you get to see all the people. These are busts of famous people, Greek philosophers, Renaissance philosophers and so forth. And if you look up, you can see that the architecture is very beautiful with all the rafters and the arches, and there's a whole nother set of shelves that are up there to store all of the assets that they maintain. The real claim to fame there is the Book of Kells, and this was a really beautifully illustrated version of the four Gospels that was done by Celtic monks. My notes, I had the date on it. I think it's like an 800 or 600 AD, something like that. And so it does a lot of Celtic crosses, these really beautiful, colorful illustrations and so forth with calligraphy and that kind of thing. So they actually have the Book of Kells there on display so that you can see this work of art. It's a work of art. Then we went off and we started getting out of Dublin. This is on our way to Kilkenny. And we settled down there and I took a walk one morning after it was raining and I found St. Canice Cathedral in Round Tower. It's a pretty well-known architectural spot in that part of Ireland. And so I will just confess to you as fellow photographers, this was a lesson for me. There's a whole series of pictures that I processed during this part of the trip, and it's blended with some kind of a background, which I think really made the color and the texture pop. And I did not note what I used to blend it or what blend mode or anything. So I've had this mission for years now, trying to figure out what the heck I did. And I still haven't found the formula, but I really like the way these photos. Yeah, maybe I could. Maybe it would give me a clue. Yeah. Tell me what I did. I mean, it really popped the texture. The projection is not quite as, detailed as what I can see on the screen here. But you really get the texture of the bricks and the grasses and stuff like that. And it sort of gave those mid-tone colors some pop and saturation that I thought worked really well. The interior was also very nice. I mean, St. Canice, again, time-wise, 6th century. So that's really quite an architectural marvel. I always, marvel at what they were able to accomplish at it. Well, of course, pyramids, that was a marvel too, and a long time ago. I believe it was concurrent with the building of the church. And I say concurrent because it wasn't a single year, right? It took some years to build this. But of course, photographically here, the challenge was to get an illuminated picture of the interior without blowing out the glass. And so I took one looking forward toward the altar and then one looking backward to the church. It was raining, so I was very happy to be in St. Canice and, just working with my camera and my tripod and trying different exposures and trying to nail it. So that was fun to do. Then when we walked a little bit more into Kilkenny, the River Nore runs through that town. And it's just gorgeous. So this is the castle that's in Kilkenny. And there's this river walk where you can just walk along there and people promenade down that river walk quite a lot. But it's very poetic. You see the castle and all the abutments and so forth. And then this is looking the other direction a little bit later in the day. At sunset, we have some nice colorful buildings here of the town, but you're still walking along this sort of old wall. Yeah, the light was gorgeous. So I really enjoyed that walk. And then we walked the castle grounds and toured the castle as well. But I just thought this was representative of, what somebody might do if they lived there, or, you just take that walk and this is what you see. So this is downtown Kilkenny. I kind of love this photo. This is my photo that I say kind of reminds me of Edward Hopper. It sort of has that tonal, kind of, and the shapes and the forms and so forth. This is just down one of the roads, and it's just a very down-to-earth modern town. There's a dental practice there, and a little real estate kind of a place and so forth. And right here we have, that's the round tower, a tower of St. Canice. And so you can see it from the main town. And again, these are blended images, and it really made the colors pop. So this is Smithick Brewery. For those of you that are Smithick beer fans, I became a fan while I was there. They have this nicely painted building right on the main drag, and here are just other, they're very decorative in terms of how they do their building facades. I think it just makes for a very lively main drag going down the main road of Kilkenny. Blue Hour, I love Blue Hour pictures. The storefronts are illuminated, and yeah, they're very colorful. And this is walking back to the hotel. St. Canice is illuminated, and so it had these nice kind of blocked light patches. So walking on the grounds of the castle there, I just took a couple of tree pictures because I'm a fan of trees. I know it's not like a spectacular subject, but I just really connect with trees. I just need to be in a good forest. And this was good forest. So I guess I won't do it now to stop us too much. I even recorded the bird song in this forest because I did. All right, fine. So yes, I did. Irish birds. Yes, it does. Yes. Yes, they are. Let's see. I just loved it.
That's magical.
I was just sitting under this tree and just listening to the birds. And it was really quite lovely. Simon Baxter is a well-known UK photographer. He lives in Northern England. His whole gig is trees. And he makes the most magical pictures of trees. They just come alive, and he catches them in different seasons and different colors of, light and that kind of thing. But you need to be in a place that has good forests. But this was my run at good forests and good trees. So this is the Lake Hotel at where we stayed. That was right outside of Kilkenny and Killarney. That was close by as well. And I walked into the room and I'm like, oh my God, it's a room with a view. It was so beautiful. The appointments of the room were quite nice. It's velveteen coverlet and these gold accents, and then framed in this window, looking out onto the back of the property, is this, castle that's sitting on the side of this lake. And it does. And, it was afternoon light, so everything was golden and beautiful. And I'm like, oh, it's a room with a view. So this is my shot of a room with a view. So of course, ran out after that. Here are some of the pictures. There's a marsh area in front of the lake here. And you can walk around the ruins of the castle and, just kind of get different vistas and so forth. The light was incredible.
It's a great tree.
Yeah. And it's growing out of the interior of where the castle once was. So nature is reasserting itself. Yeah. So in that area, we visited a couple of castles, a couple of famous ones. Blarney Castle, I'm sure we've all heard of Blarney. And this is Bunratty Castle. They're both, we're in the area now. Kilkenny, Killarney are down there, and these are little side trips to the castles. And you can see in the 14th century, they had a very blocky conception of architecture. It wasn't very fancy. They had a little bit of facades and turrets here and so forth, but These were kind of the kitchen, the bedrooms and so forth. And in the center area, you had the dining hall and the reception hall and so forth. And these were the staircases that got you up these towers,
Did you kiss Florence Stone?
Listen.
I did.
This was the end of COVID. I was not going to put my lips on the side of a building that a lot of other people might have left there.
For those who have never.
Good
been
for you.
to, Show them approximately where the Florence Stone is, do you know?
Yeah, it's up
right
there.
It's right there in the.
And you have to lay down and there's a bar and you have to hang backwards and kiss, and I'm like, no, thank you.
The Florence Castle, the Florence Castle.
You walk up these stairs
Side.
to get up there. Yeah. The stone is part of the castle itself. It's not like there's a rock sitting on the ground.
And there's very few floors left. You're walking on stairs along the outside, inside, but along the outside walls.
Yeah,
It's very bizarre.
I was determined to kiss the Barney Stone by the time.
I kissed it. I kissed it.
We had 2 kissers in the room. All right. So then, yep, we all have to choose our own, experiences.
Well, obviously, the two of us had the gift of eloquence. The rest of us don't.
I think I have it.
I think you did. I think you did.
I'm gonna own that. So going up the seacoast, we're going on our way to Dingle now. We're making our way to the Dingle Peninsula. And along the way, we stopped at Inch Beach. So there's big time surfing in Ireland. And there are some big time surfers in Ireland. So like, for example, when they were opening the big wave surfing competitions in Nazaré, Portugal, these Irish surfers would come down for the invitationals to try their hands or their feet or whatever at their luck with those waves, So there really is a big culture. You see just a few caravans. You can see there's not a lot of surf going on there. There's a little bit of,
Did you go from Dublin down to Dingle Peninsula, is kind of the southwest? So how many days did you guys spend?
4 or 5, something like that. And did a few other things. I've not included photos of all the things we've done because I want you to get home tonight. So Dingle, I just wanted to, Dingle is something that a lot of people recognize. And what I love is, this is true in Iceland too, when you have climates that are rather grayish or rather rainy, and the atmosphere, people go, let's paint our buildings bright colors. In Iceland, you see bright, in Greenland, in Norway, you see these really brightly colored homes, and you do here in Dingle too. So I just love all the colors along the main drag, and I'm not sure what these lane markings are, but you just kind of try and stay within your lanes. This is along the water there because Dingle is on the water. And I love the layers of this. You've got the harbor itself and you've got Front Street. And then you have a little bit of neighborhoods over here. And then these are the suburbs. And then up here, when you get to the top of the ridge, that's grazing land already. So you see how the town is architected, how it's laid out, in these layers. So as you go up there, Broadchurch, who knows Broadchurch? Yes, right? Yes, this is not them. This is not the cliffs, but all of the British Isles have these very dramatic cliffs on waterfront, and the Cliffs of Moher is one of the usual stops that people go to. And I mean, it's gorgeous. We had a fairly bright day, so it doesn't look very mysterious, but it was gorgeous nonetheless. This is looking south, this is looking north, it comes around. And you can see here, the Irish are walking people too. The Scottish are definitely walking people. When you ask what they do, they go to pubs and they walk. They walk in the mountains, they walk in the valleys, they walk, they walk. So here you can see what the path was. And this is so, European, you know, that it's so close to the edge. So finally, they built this more interior path that has some fencing around it, because this is also a big tourist stop. So it's not just locals, you know, and it's a pretty precipitous drop. But there are these paths, so you can take nice walks along the shoreline here and take in the ocean and take in these views and so forth.
Did you see anybody walk? Yeah.
No, no. Well, yeah, actually, but yeah, we tried not to do that. So this is scrappy. It's called scrappy. It's related to the Scottish thistle.
Oh, okay.
And it grows wild along the edge of these cliffs over here. So, I mean, that just adds whimsy, I think, to the landscape. You know, there's kind of just a scrappy little flower that's like, I'm all over the place here. So I'll just give you a sec to just look at those. This was one of my favorite shoots, and I'd love to do a whole show on this sometime. We were on the bus from Galway going out to catch the ferry to the Aran Islands. And it was raining, duh. By then I had bought my raincoat, so no problem. But I scampered up to the second, the second deck of the bus, the upper one, and the front seats were open. So I'm sitting in the front seat and there's this big picture window in front of me. I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm looking out of it. I'm like, wow, that's really cool, because the rain is collecting on the windshield and it's acting like a liquefy filter.
Yeah.
So I did this whole series of photos
Oh,
as we were just trundling down the road. This is coming back to Galway. This is kind of going out on the roads and so forth. You can see there's just this liquefy effect to it that I just loved. I thought it was just so cool. So I have a whole series of photos that's in this liquefy kind of mode. It's all streets and stuff like that, but it's a view of what the countryside looks like and what Galway looks like. So then we did get out to Inishmore, which is in the Aran Islands. Like one of the cultural things that we could see, if any of you remember the movie, The Banshees of Inishmore? That was a disturbing movie. But it did really characterize what isolated life on an island looks like. That was a fictitious island, but this is the island that it's modeled after. So, it's very sparsely populated, and there are some nicely built homes and so forth. This one looks like a giant because they have giants in Ireland. Just took a bite out of the roof, just, I don't know. People live there, they die there. They have their whole lives there in this very insular kind of population. And there's a ferry. They do go back to the mainland, for good supplies, family, whatever, young people often leave. Yes. Oh, it wasn't too bad, maybe 30, 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. So we spent some time on the island going around and seeing the sights and so forth. There's a lot of, Ireland is very rocky, and you see these stone fences everywhere. That's because they have to pick up the rocks so that they would have some land that they can build on, farm, make pasture, what have you. So there are stone fences everywhere. I'm like, wow, what hard work. Rocks are heavy. I've tried to do some landscaping in my backyard. My hands and my back just hurt thinking about it,
I have a friend who, when he came back from Ireland, he said, and he drove a car, he rented a car, and he said, you're driving right if you hear click, 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 click on the side of your mirror,
Why is that?
because you're hitting the rocks.
Oh, wow. I would think that would be dangerous for the mirror.
But the roads are so narrow,
Yeah,
I don't think-
indeed they are.
Yeah, if you're on the road alone, you don't hit the rocks, but if an oncoming tour bus or even, a truck, you have to hit
Yes.
those rocks almost.
Yes. Yes, they are narrow, and that's why I was grateful on these trips. We had a driver, so we could all just sit back and relax and look out the window and go, please stop.
I drove in a, for 12 hours I was there and I drove.
So, as you look at the landscape, you see a lot of these stone walls that kind of delineate the property lines and the pastures and all that kind of thing. A lot of people do, they raise animals and the animals look so healthy. I mean, they're just really beautiful. Look at this stallion to
Beautiful
be.
baby.
Yeah, he's great. And of course, the islands are known for wool and Aran Island sweaters and that kind of thing. So there's plenty of gift shops at the landing spot where you can buy, sweaters and whatnot. But here's some guy, he's got some reeds and he's making baskets. He just sets them out on the wall. This is on the pathway up to the fort that sits at the very top, the highest point of that island. So in the past, that had some kind of military defensive kind of role. Now it's just a hike and a place where you can go and get views. And so, tourists can drop by and look at his wares. He sets out all his baskets, and yes, I did buy one. A little bit further up is the Giant's Causeway. This is a geologic marvel. It's hexagonal interlocking basalt columns. And I had to look that up. I'm like, how does this happen?
Yeah.
This is volcanic activity because these islands are actually volcanic, but ancient volcanic. Like we got a date when we were in the Outer Hebrides. Those rocks are 3 billion with a B years old, 3 billion years old. So these are ancient volcanoes. This isn't Hawaii, this isn't Iceland, And evidently what comes up is that as the lava is flowing up, there's some kind of fluid dynamics that happens, and these hexagonal columns form, which is like mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like, why should it do that? So you can see that it forms these pathways, and it's all along the shore here, and people can climb on them. They're like plinths that are, set up together. Lots of photographers, people just scurrying about. And then there's a pathway that goes along here, and this is the side of the cliff. So you can see kind of a cross section of what these look like in their depth. These are really, really tall columns. So, of course, the Irish, they have a mythological explanation for this. This was when the Irish giant was going to confront his foe, the Scottish giant. They have really cool names. I could tell you them if I had my notes. Bellador or something like that. But the Irish giant went and they had a mighty confrontation on Scotland. And the Irish giant came back to Ireland, and the Scottish giant came after him and then destroyed the causeway because the causeway was built. It doesn't even geographically make sense because this side of Ireland is facing to the Atlantic. It's not facing to Scotland, but no matter. This is the
That's-
myth. This is the story. And so the Scottish giant destroyed the causeway so that no more could the giants cross back and forth and have these altercations. And so this is all that's left of it. So I prefer that explanation to volcanoes. We went up to Ashford Castle and we had an extraordinary opportunity to do falconry on the premises. And yeah, we all got a chance to wear the leather glove and, to have the hawks sit with us. And there you learn the various cues, you cue them and then go flying off. They have little leather bracelets on their feet. So when they land, you just grab the hanging pieces so that they're tethered to your hands. Okay, and they can't fly off. They really got used to doing this. The falconer explained to us that they're not really wanting to play tricks. They don't want to play with you. They don't like you or anything like that. They're just lazy because when they fly off and fly back, you have a little piece of rat in your hand. I looked in his apron, I'm like, oh. And he'd just like slip a little piece of anything, and you'd send the hawk off and he would come back, and then you just open your hand a little bit, hawk goes in there, has a little bit to eat, you walk along, then you send him off. But it's such a pleasure to be in such deep woods and to watch the graceful flight of these raptors. And they'll just like fly off into a tree, and they'll sit in the tree and they'll wait for the signal, and then they'll fly back onto your arm and have a little niblet. So that was kind of a fun experience. I really enjoyed that. Going up north to Londonderry, these towns in Northern Ireland are really beautiful. This is on a river. I forgot what the name of the river is again, but this is just such an orderly, beautiful little town. I loved the repetitive houses of of the way that the town was laid out. You get these lovely steeples and so forth, and these quaint cobblestone roads and so forth. I would have loved to have spent a little bit more time there. We didn't have that much time. When you get to Northern Ireland, these folks are really into painting murals on the buildings. I could do a whole tour of Northern Ireland to just document the murals on the buildings. These were the ones that I thought had interesting stories. These two are depicting history from the mid 1800s, where Londonderry, for some reason, was like the mecca of shirt sewing. They sewed beautiful shirts. There was a time when the sewing industry actually employed 20% of the working force, and 90% of those people were women. So it was a very big time for women's employment, and that's kind of what this is celebrating, women going to work and so forth. And here we have the Singer sewing machine. Eventually, they were outcompeted, third world countries, blah, 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 and the whole, sewing industry collapsed in Londonderry, but it still has this strong history, and it's memorialized in some of these murals. I love this one, Guinness for strength. It's kind of like the Geritol of Ireland. Everyone should take Guinness because it'll make you strong, so strong you can give your horse a ride, in the carriage. It is really funny. And then a little bit more of a contemporary reference. These are, I don't know if y'all know, there's a BBC series called Dairy Girls.
Yeah, seen it. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. And absolutely. This is Nicola Coughlan, and she's actually Lady Whistledown. Lady Whistledown. And she was also the protagonist of the love story of the last. I love Bridgerton. It's just really fun. So she's gained some fame, and I think these other actors have too, more in the British, industry than in the American industry, but they're memorialized also on the side of this building. So welcome to Scotland. We went to Belfast. Far too little time in Belfast. That's a hole that I need to fill. I think I need to do a Northern Ireland trip at some point. And so we came to this quaint little town, beautiful little bridge here with buildings and everything. Saw a Highland coo right off the bat. They're just so cute. And at the time, Boris Johnson was still the prime minister, and the press was just giving him such a hard time. And one of the jokes that they were running is that Boris was taking his styling cues from the Scottish coos. So I just put a picture here. This is for you to judge, do you think so? I can see it. He's had some wild hair. If you just, yeah, if you Google that and just look at the images that come up, he's a wild man. So we drove up to Alloway. We went to the Scottish games. I mean, we saw it all. I won't show you the pictures of throwing cabers and, flinging things and so forth. But on the way back, I didn't go on the bus. I'm like, I'm just going to walk back to the hotel. And it took me through this kind of countryside so that I could see what it looked like. And it was just very gorgeous and peaceful and lovely. In that area is Blair Castle, which was made for Clan Murray in the 1200s. And this castle now has been refurbished, and it's a museum, and it's fabulous. It has armor, fashion, furniture, paintings. I mean, all from the different periods. There is one dress that we saw there that was spectacular. It had these iridescent stripes. They were insect wings that were appliqued onto these skirts. It was amazing. And they were also having Scottish games. I mean, this felt like the more authentic thing for me because you could hear the bagpipes off in the glen, and these guys were marching back into the woods behind the castle once they had done their little performance. And this felt very authentic to me. Can't go to Scotland without drinking a little bit of scotch. There's actually a rivalry between Scotland and Ireland in terms of Scotch production. Ireland's like, oh, we're triple distilled, and Scotland's like, we're only double distilled because we know how to do it right. We don't need the third distillation. But yeah, some of these distilleries are quite beautiful, and these stills, they're usually copper. And they're just marvelous vessels. They're just so beautiful. This is Blair Athol, and you can see also the shape of these things. It's amazing. So they can process really quite a lot of hooch. But that's not the end of the process. There's, of course, the type of cask and how long it sits there and how long it ages. And, there's different flavors that you can give it, what peat versus spicy and so forth. So we did a lot of tasting, and I could taste all the differences. It was really kind of cool. Blair Athol does not distribute to the United States at all. So I'm like, oh, this is unique. So I brought home a bottle of Blair Athol Scotch. It's still on our bar because you know what? I still don't like Scotch. It, it just burns. It burns. I don't care if it has nuances of notes. Yeah, that's not enough to make it good. It's not enough for me. So here we took a day off and we stopped at a small town, Gerlach. This is as close to Skye as we got. This landmass is a piece of Skye. They're like, we're not going on Skye on this trip. I'm like, all right. So we stopped in Gerlach and we had some beautiful walks along the shoreline here. Did a little echo cruise out into this water. It's kind of sheltered because there's Skye here and there's, the landmass over here. And there were all these seal colonies on these little islands. Tons and tons of them. And it was really quite beautiful, this little boat. Lots of recreational boating out there because it's this nice little protected part of the sea. And these are the wild bankers from London. So we are at the head of what they call the northern 500 kilometers. So it goes up from Skye, up over the northern coast of Scotland, then it comes down through Inverness and Fort William. And that's a 500-kilometer loop along there. And evidently it's very lovely and picturesque. So you see a lot of caravans going up there, motorcycle groups and so forth. And these guys are from London and they're gonna bike it with appropriate sag wagon support, of course. So they're just all cool in their duds and they're doing it. So this is from our most recent trip. We did get on the Isle of Skye finally. And so here's just a few pictures. This was a very picturesque little spot that they chose from us, a vista. See this little thing up here? That's Old Man of Store. Old Man of Store. It's a geologic feature that a lot of people photograph, and it is at 2,200 feet elevation. You can hike up there. They predetermined that we were not competent to do that. And I don't think so. I mean, 2,200 feet elevation gain is a big hike. That's a big hike. So they found us this spot where we had this beautiful vista, this loch with its own little, island. But that's as good a picture of the Old Man of Store as we were able to get. I mean, you could work this a little bit left to right, but that was it.
Do you remember the name of the one on the right?
Yeah, that's Kilt Rock.
Kilt Rock, yep.
Mm-hmm. And so the shorelines are absolutely beautiful. And what really struck me is the color of the water. It's azure. It has these emerald green, blue tones. I mean, it reminds me of tropical places. I've never seen like colder weather locations that had such gorgeous colored water. And it was all very clear, clean. And the rocks and everything, I have pictures of rocks in the water because I liked it so well. Here's another spot that gets a lot of photographs, the Korang, and it's actually this geologic feature. This land, it's a landslide, and I think that's how it was formed. And you can see here's the road winding its way up, and we're at a viewing point. So everybody has this shot because it's the convenient place to pull over the bus and everybody jumps out and gets it.
Yeah.
No, it's two lane, you
No,
can see
no,
there's
that's a
two.
one-track road. They have put that,
Yet, but traffic goes both ways on that road. It's not a one-way road.
it's a two-way road, but it's one lane wide.
But it's wide enough that when the people have to pass,
They have little pullover.
not in this section,
Yeah. That road,
so
yeah.
were we.
Yeah. And
Um,
that little gap on to the
so-
right, yeah, that's.
And you know, this is the walking part again, you know, this is looking the opposite direction. There are trails that go throughout these, you know, mountainous features. So you can take long walks in the mountains and, you know, just enjoy it. And people do that all the time. Whenever you go anywhere, you see all sorts of outdoor shops with boots and hiking boots and, you know, hats and, you know, all that kind of stuff, because that's what people do. No, didn't have any concern about that. Bugs, no, no, bugs. Bring some bug spray. That's always useful. Yeah, yeah, the gnats were, and they have a special gnat thing and you can find it at every corner store everywhere. It really helps. So the looks are beautiful. They're all over Scotland. It's just a part of the feature of Scotland itself.
Is that what this monster is?
There are many, many locks, but Nessie lives in, this is Loch Ness.
Yeah.
So Nessie actually does live here. Yes, we did see her.
Did you cruise Loch Ness?
Of course,
Yeah, I did too.
yeah. And this is Castle Urquhart, which is right on the shore of Loch Ness, and so you can get some nice views and, you know, some architectural features. Yeah, this was on the side of the road. We're like, stop the bus, you know, and then we found a pull off and we all piled off the bus so that we could get pictures of this look, which was just absolutely gorgeous. So they're all over Scotland. That's a major feature, I think, of the geology there. So right there, yeah, looks are lakes. Yeah. So they're freshwater. So that's one of the point, you know. This is Eilean Donan. It's an early 13th century castle. It's built on this is a tidal lagoon at the confluence of three lochs. Okay, so it's very defensible. You're on this little island. This bridge is really the only access. So in the day, that was a very defensible castle to be in. It's very picturesque. It's been featured in many films, including Highlander and some of the Bond films and so forth. It's very nice. And we kept having this more intrepid, terrible, beautiful weather. There is not a cloud in that sky. It is completely clear, bright, contrasty light. I feel really bad. I complained about the good weather so much because these pictures kind of lack the mystery and kind of the emotional content of it. So just to show you what I mean, this is from 2 trips ago, same Eilean Donan. And there it's foggy, the tide is out, so you get a lot of the, you know, tidal basin that's exposed and so forth. That's a very different feel, right? This is a picture postcard. This makes you go, oh, you know, yeah. What?
Makes me do that too.
Good, good. No, that's true. But you know, we all have our preferences about what we'd like to capture. And of course, Beth knows the bright trip, the bright sky thing, we were on this trip together and everybody took pictures and so forth. It's just that a cloud would be nice,
Yeah.
if not full on fog, you know? I mean, I tried doing some sky replacements. And you can, but you got to get the reflections of the clouds if it's going to look authentic, you know? So I didn't want to do something schlocky, so I took the clouds out and I just showed you the naked blue sky. Kathy, did you want to say something? No?
No.
Okay. All right, I'm just looking up a little something because I think we're close. No, not that playlist. 25. All right, just to put us in the mood.
Sing me a song that is good. Sing.
Oh, maybe a little premature. I will get back to that. Hold on. So this is Harry Potter. This is the Glenfinnan Viaduct. And so, yeah, you get the shot. This is very touristy. This train is operated from point A to point B to come down this thing, and it's full of tourists. It's not really a commuter train or anything like that. And everybody comes by and like,
Doesn't loop, does it?
no, no. And the parking lot for it is somewhere back over here. And so you're looking up at these things, you're like, oh, there are the arches. So if you want this perspective, you got to hike, 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 and then up this hill to get high enough to get this perspective. Hundreds of people do this pilgrimage so that they can be up here at 10:30 a.m. when this train comes through. And you just put your camera on burst. Ba, 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 ba. Starting, coming through, and then it's over. And then hundreds of people walk down the hill again to leave. And wouldn't you say it was a little bit of a challenging walk?
Is it just one time a day?
No, this train comes at the one time during that day. Yes, it's the morning train. There may be an afternoon one as well, but it's not like they're coming every hour or anything like that.
Kind of a route there, you didn't want embers starting fires, so they used the diesel.
Yeah, so it was not quite as picturesque as the steam engine, but nonetheless, you get the idea. That's the Glenfinnan Viaduct. Oh, the Kelpies. You can see them from miles around when you're driving like from Edinburgh up to Glasgow. And they're just on the horizon. You're like, who's that? This is Duke and Baron. And they are the Kelpies. They are river spirits, and they're malevolent and playful. And they're these huge sculptures you can see for scale, the size of humans.
Yeah.
And we only stopped there in midday sun, so I thought a monochrome conversion did well to show them. But oh man, if we could spend some more time there. They're illuminated at night in different colors. There's a reflecting pond, so you could really do a whole shoot around the Kelpies, and they are worth it. Look at those proud beasts.
Yeah.
Yes. Panels of metal, steel. But they're hollow
Yeah.
because the illumination comes from within as well as on the surface. So they're very dimensional as sculptural pieces. All right. So this was the other part of our trip that we went, was Lewis and Harris Isle. Very low inhabitants. There's one main city, Stornoway. We went in there and then we left it and we went out into the countryside, and the whole thing is just mountains and rocks and looks. Well, that's how they use the land. They do crofting. They call it crofting, and you can have sheep. Did we see any other kind of livestock? We saw a hell of a lot of sheep.
There's a guy called Borecki Baker,
Yes,
and he's on Instagram, and he actually has a cookbook out now for.
yes, we bought that cookbook.
Did you?
Yes, yes. You can buy it online. Yeah. Hebridean baker. And so this is the Hebrides. So it's his cookbook. Totally. But so you get a lot of these looks. This is maybe a little bit more of a village, otherwise, like our guest house looked like this. This isn't exactly our guest house, but it looked like this. It was just out in the middle of crofts. And like we would sit there and eat breakfast and look out the window, and the sheep would be dropping babies. And we would just watch them getting born, and they would start feeding with their mothers and stuff like that. It's like, wow, does it get any more down to earth Mother Nature than this? It was really quite remarkable. So here we go back now.
So she said,
Callanish standing stones. Okay, these were erected in 3000 BCE. This was during the Neolithic age, and during the Iron Age, it was supposed by archaeologists that they were used for ritual purposes or time travel. Huh? Older. And as it turns out, these Callanish standing stones are the stones that were used for the filming of Outlander. So that's why we're doing the Outlander song here. Okay. And actually the Isle of Harris has a part of the story of Outlander too, insofar as the Culloden, battle was concerned, and also the escape of Bonnie Prince Charlie. So we heard a lot of Bonnie Prince Charlie stories when we were there. But these were really amazing. When you think of the craftsmanship, they've been around for what, 5,000 years, 5,000 years, and they're still standing. And there really is a very ancient energy to this place. So we stayed through sunset. The sun was getting long and the shadows were lengthening until we had, moonrise. And then they have a different character altogether to them. And so Beth probably has it too. We all have like several hundred pictures of these stones from different angles and so forth. But I thought 3 was enough to give you a sense of what it was. So we did tour the Isle of Harris. They do not believe in neighborhoods. I mean, there's this house and it's like surrounded by the only copsewood trees like for miles around, so you can barely see it, And here's just like a couple of buildings and then there's nothing around for miles. Then in this one little isolated place, this is a monument a cairn built for Bonnie Prince Charlie. Because evidently he was beloved, this Jacobite, ruler. And in fact, this was his escape route. So he was escorted by, and this was depicted in Outlander as well, by Flora MacDonald. They got into a small boat. He was dressed as a woman servant. And she too, and they went on this small boat. They landed on the Isle of Harris. They made their way over to Skye. And from there, he made his way to France, where he lived out his life in relative comfort, while the clansmen lay dead on the battlefield of Culloden. It's an amazing history. It's an amazing history. But Bonnie Prince Charlie is very well remembered. There's this thing. And then when we got to Skye, we stopped off to see this is the grave of Flora MacDonald. So she was a patriot, a Jacobite, and she did many things. Her biggest claim to fame is having saved and escorted Bonnie Prince Charlie away from the mayhem. And so when she died, they thought she needed a very big, monument to remember Flora MacDonald. And this little thing here, that's her husband. But Flora was the one that was the big one there. So that was interesting to kind of tie that little bit of history together. Some of the things that we saw on Lewis were the beaches. They are routinely voted among the 5 most beautiful beaches in the world. Who knew? I didn't know. And they're deserted. They're deserted, and the waters are these azure waters, and they've got this, yeah. It's great for walking, I mean, yeah, no, it's beautiful. And this is Luscantire, which is one of the most beautiful beaches. This is Uig Beach. This actually reminds me of Waipio Valley on the big island of Hawaii in the Valley of Kings. It has this same sort of inlet with the waves rolling in. And I just put that little insert there to remind us there are sheep everywhere. You have to look where you're stepping all the time. Okay. But they're everywhere and they're very picturesque. We have lots of pictures of sheep as well.
I was told by one of our tour guides that there are more sheep in Scotland than there are people.
In some parts, for sure.
Well, no, overall.
Overall?
Like you said, yes.
I would not doubt that.
Yeah.
So this is my last slide, just so that you know that we're wrapping up here. This was, I thought, kind of iconic of what I think of Scotland. You've got mountainous, you've got lochs, it's kind of barren land. It's not very fertile land. It's very rugged and it's ancient. It has this really ancient feeling to it. So, we had some gorgeous views and some wonderful opportunities. So, in summary, we have some cities. You've got Edinburgh and Glasgow and even the smaller, I love Inverness. I would spend more time in Inverness. Cities, you've got quaint villages, Dorney, and what's the one, Beth, on Isle of Skye that we stayed in?
Portree.
Portree.
That's
Lovely. What?
where we stayed.
We were there about 13 days, something like that, on this trip. 12, not counting the travel days. Yeah, that many days.
Working at.
So we have, let me just finish up and then we'll open it up for discussion, okay? Quaint villages, lots of ancient history, more ancient geological, but Edinburgh is steeped in history as well, and it had Hadrian's Wall. I mean, the Romans were there, it has a very deep history, which I find really fascinating. Abundant, stunning landscapes, they're all available. So there's a wealth of photographic opportunities. Be prepared to walk. These are walking destinations. You can drive from place to place, but once you get there, you want your hiking shoes on, you're going to walk. And people are really laid back and friendly and nice. They're chatty and helpful and just lovely, wouldn't you say? And so that's it. Questions. Now, we changed hotels maybe, what'd you say, Beth, every 3 or 4 days, something like that? 3 days, 2 days, 3 days? Let's flip the lights back on so we can see each other. I'm tethered. If somebody
Diane,
get
you wanna
that?
get the top button, I think. To the right, to the right.
These guys?
Right there. No, nope, down further.
It's cool.
That's all right, I'll come.
Yeah.
I'll come. There you go, there.
But it's not.
Awesome. Oh,
And here's what we're gonna do. Hand me the microphone. So if anybody has a question, I want the people online to be able to hear, so let's.
Sure.
Not, you'll have to come to.
I
the
could-
microphone.
I could also repeat the question
Yeah, that's a good point. Do that.
then, because it's got to come back to me or somebody anyway. Any questions? So this is 2 different trips. So that's to your question, Cindy.
Okay, so what's it like traveling with Jeffrey?
Jeff Hirsch. There are 2 kinds of trips that you can take with Jeff Hirsch. One is one that he has a stronger hand in and that he collaborates with local guides. So I've been to Iceland with him a couple of times. I've been to Vietnam with him. I've been to Cuba with him. So those are some of the big trips I've taken with him where he's had a hand in going, we're going to do this, do this, do this. This particular last trip was done through Strabo, which is a photographic tour company, and they hired him on to be the photographic guide. So Strabo made a lot of the decisions, We also had local guides. We had a marvelous guide. She was so wonderful. She knew so much about the history of what we were seeing. It was like having a live podcast going in the bus as we were going along. She told us all the stories about Bonnie Prince Charlie, and here's what this happened, and then that happened, and then the clans, and then they were so murderous, all these stories. She was just absolutely marvelous. And, Jeff, of course, is very facile when you have to pivot. Something didn't work out. He's like, okay, let's go do this. He makes himself totally available. So if you're a seasoned photographer and you're like, leave me alone, he's like, fine, But if you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, he'll come, he'll help you think about composition, this and that. My camera's not working. He'll come and fix that. I'd like to, do back button focus, but I don't know how to do that. He'll come and show you do that, so, if Jeff is also my consultant for various kind of learning things and, my IT guy and so forth. So he has an hourly rate. So when you travel with him, you have full on access to him and he says yes to everything. You're like, I want to do a photo review. okay, after dinner, let's sit down and let's look at some things. Let's see what you're thinking about, you know? So he's probably one of the most generous photo educators I've ever known.
And take classes on. It's just amazing.
Beth is pointing out, just for them, that you can take classes online with Jeff, and he's very generous with that. Not only is he a good communicator, the guy can really break down complicated things into understandable chunks, but he videotapes all of his classes and does transcripts of them, and they're available to you forever. If you took the class, if you paid for the class, you have those resources. So if you're like, oh, how did they do that tiny planet creative thing? I can go back on his website and find that lecture and just, you know, go slow, pause and go, okay, now where's that button, and figure it out. So it's really great for learning because, you know, if you're just watching someone else do it, it seems really straightforward, and then they're not there anymore and you don't have the first idea. So, you know, you can do it with him. And I think he's a very considerate tour guide. He tries to make sure that, you know, everyone is getting what they need, that everyone's happy, and that he'll
I was
escape.
gonna get, yeah, there, that's what I was.
Johnson thanks, but how is the photo pros?
I like those guys too. Different tenor. Different tenor. This is Stephen Weiss, the former owner of Creve Coeur Camera. He sold off that business and in fact started another one. So he now has another business in Creve Coeur, but he's focusing on the things he wants. So he's got some limited equipment that he sells and so forth, but he does classes, you know, and he does photo trips, and he loves the travel. And he's one of these Renaissance guys that he's been a police chief, he's been a travel agent, he's been an entrepreneur, he's,
Announced a, I mean, a trip to Africa.
yeah, he did. And that's a really good price for Africa. Really good price for Africa. Like $7,500. I've been to Africa and it was double that.
What camera did you take with you?
I shoot Fuji. I really love the color management in Fuji. I love the way the photos turn out, and I've got some, you know, color profiles that I can use that I think make it look different from everybody else, you know, so I love that. And Fuji has really good glass, but for travel, I have a Tamron 18-300. It covers me for 90% of what I need. And usually if I'm doing landscapes and the possibility of astro or anything like that, I take my 16mm prime, nice wide angle, and that's like an f1.4. So yeah, it's a killer lens. So, you know, for those kinds of applications, yes. Yes. Sometimes it just lives in the bus. But you have it with you. If you want to do an evening shoot, or if you want to, you know, get that foamy water and stuff like that, you need a tripod. So I have one that I got specifically for travel. It telescopes down to something about this big. It's not very heavy. So, yeah, absolutely. And then filters. I think I said I've always traveled with a polarizer with an ND filter for, you know, having longer shutter speeds. And, anything else? No. Polarizer ND 18-300, 16mm prime. End of story. So my kit is very small. People walk around with these backpacks on their back and I'm like, sucks to be you. No, some people love it and I have no problem with them. But I know the way that I like to shoot. I like to be light and agile and not weighed down with a lot of stuff. You know, so.
Do you have a sling or do you have a, how do you very?
I have a long band and I put it crossbody so that it doesn't have a lot of stress on my neck. And then I just pull it up and pull it down. And then I take a little purse with me where I have extra batteries, extra card. I can even slip in an extra filter if I want to bring an extra filter with me. So I travel very light.
Something, you know, what I mean, that it seems to be accessible.
What?
Like me, I'm trying to back that.
Oh, you mean,
I tried the, shoulder bag, two shoulder bags actually, just one that was smaller, like my purses. I went smaller and then I went bigger. And I just found out that it was just, it's still just, I haven't found one for me yet.
Cindy was just sharing for those of you online, the difficulty in finding the right kind of configuration for how to carry your gear, especially when you're traveling. That's one of the reasons why many of us have multiple camera bags. I thought that was gonna work, and then I bought another one, and I thought that was gonna work. Yeah, yeah.
Better, I like the coordinate.
My husband bought me a beautiful leather camera bag because she's really into photography. It's a gorgeous bag. It's just too heavy. And then, yes, I throw it around on, buses and it gets wet and everything like that. I'm like, I'm not taking my nice leather bag out, so he's kind of disappointed that I don't use it as much as, my little neoprene thing that I like.
So it sounds like with Jeff's tours that you get a fair amount of free time too. That
Some.
you could walk around and.
One of the features is that you're going from destination to destination.
Uh-huh.
So you have time in between.
Right.
So you have that. And, he's very negotiable. So once you reach a destination, he'll be like, what do you think, photographers? How much time do you want?
Very
Okay. And he's like, 45 minutes, hour and a half. So, like when we went to the ferry pools. Yes, we hiked up to the ferry pools.
That's a fair.
It's one of the big photographic opportunities in Scotland. It was droughty. There was not much water running through them and the trail went like this. So man, I have trouble hills.
20-minute hike.
Oh, more like 2 hour in, 2 hour out. It was a big hike. It was about 4 hours, say with shooting, about 4 hours in and out, so for that, we allocated a greater amount of time. I was just proud I made it back to the bus. I'm like, oh, I made it. That last hill, because it's a big, long hill, that last bit of it, no. Yeah, so, and people do whatever they feel comfortable doing. There's no forced march. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. If it works in, you can say, I want to stay in this morning and sleep in, and I'll catch up with you later. So there's, you can make it your own to the extent that you want, but I find that it's good to hang around with the group because they take you to cool places. So you have the photo ops that you're looking for, and you have time to rest in the bus in between. We always have,
Sounds awesome.
yeah, waters on board, snacks. It was about 10 to 12, 13 of us.
So you're in a small
That's right.
bus,
Yes,
Not like
yes.
a big truck.
like.
No,
a-
no, no,
A
like
nursing
a
home bus.
15-seater.
Yeah.
Ingrid, what kind of, do you keep like a journal that you go every day? Because how you, to remember all this information, how do you do that?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't keep a journal. I know people who do and they're willing to share. So sometimes I grab theirs. One of the other benefits of a Jeff Hirsch tour is that he's already thought about all the keywording. So he gives you all the hierarchical keywords that has all the locations in them. And you can import them into Lightroom and then tag your photos appropriately. So he's worked out all that for you and just gives it to you. The other thing that I do, I find that I use my iPhone a lot as a secondary camera. There are many instances where the iPhone actually does better than my big girl camera. And I will take some documentary shots too, which are still valid shots, it's still a valid camera. But then it'll give you GPS coordinates. It'll tell you exactly where you were. So when I forget, I always go on my iPhone and I go, where was that shot? And then it gives you the name of the small village or, whatever it was.
Or how about those AI things that summarize, like if one of your guides is giving you a history, you could, have it recording that and then it could summarize what she said or he said. Do you think that?
Yeah, if you wanted to undertake that project, I think they'd be up for it. Yeah, it's for me, it's a balance when I'm traveling. I don't want to be too mired in the tasks. Like I don't edit while I travel. I don't look at my photos. I want to be as in the experience as I
Okay,
possibly
so you
can be.
don't take your computer.
I don't.
Good.
I take a backup disk because Jeff always takes a computer.
Uh-huh.
So I've got an external drive so I can back up my photos. So there's a safety issue there, but I'm really not spending time
Okay.
with my photos. I could be missing a bet because if you're doing something terribly wrong, it would be good to know that sooner rather than later.
Uh-huh.
But I don't look, I just let it be a surprise. And one of my really supreme pleasures about travel is when I get home and I upload all the pictures and they come up on my big screen, I have a whole re-experience of the
Mhm.
trip. And and it's a deeper one than even being there because I've caught the images that caught my eye or caught my emotion or whatnot. And then I think about how to process it so that I could capture that moment. Not exactly what I saw, but how I felt. And so it's a very emotionally rewarding, process for me. And I like doing that when I get home and I'm into the night editing going, oh my, that's when I send out my thank you notes and go, that was such a great trip. I was just recalling it. Can I get back to Photo Pros? I don't think I finished
Oh, sure.
talking about that. So, Stephen Weiss travels mostly with Jorge Restrepo, if you
Right.
know him. He's a really good guy.
Yeah.
And Steven's a good guy too. It's just that he's sometimes a little off color.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way, you know? And if you know that and you can overlook that and you don't have like delicate sensibilities, it's fun. And what I like about it is they've got this energy, like we're out here for the fun. We're gonna have fun, and they're game for anything, and they have also very full agendas and I call it the Scooby Mobile. It's also one of these small vans, that seats about 12 people.
Mhm.
So you get in there and everybody's, going on. It's like, no, stop there. I want to shoot that barn, and pulls over and everybody piles out and everyone piles back in. And what we have fun. We have a good time. There's a lot of energy around it. We eat on the cheap. Sometimes I wish the meals were a little bit better nutritionally, but whatever. For a few days, I can have a Whataburger. No, this is with Stephen Weiss and Jorge Restrepo. This is Photo Pros. So they do these trips, and Stephen is pretty cost conscious. Like he offered a trip to Greenland that I was interested in, and all of a sudden the Greenland prices just really skyrocketed
Yeah.
between hotels and the logistics of getting us to Greenland and everything got so complicated. It got so expensive. He's like, I'm canceling. So he just canceled the whole thing.
Huh.
So he really looks for making a cost-effective package. And if you're at all like me, I hate making travel arrangements. I like to travel, but I don't like making arrangements. I don't want to make hotel reservations. I don't want to figure out where to go. I just want to be able to say, Stephen, I really want to hit this location. He's like, all right. And then he works it into the itinerary. But he makes all the arrangements, the transportation, where we're gonna eat, and he's flexy about it. Like we got caught in a sandstorm in Death Valley when we were there in June. That was earlier in the day. We got stuck in the desert.
Oh,
Yeah, there were these dunes, like, we're going to the dunes, we're gonna shoot the dunes. And so we're on this gravel road, because, you look at the dunes and they're actually 15 miles away, because distances are weird. So we're driving toward the dunes. We're on this gravel road, and all of a sudden Steven's like, oh, it's starting to feel a little soft. The key is to keep going. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he does that.
And so he kept going until we were buried to the axle in sand. We called AAA because we still had a little bit of cell service, and he always travels with a sat phone. So, I mean, he knows how to do
a
it.
satellite
phone.
Yeah, satellite phone.
So we called AAA and they're like, oh, we're gonna have to call you back because all we could give them was coordinates. We weren't at Big Bend and,
Oh.
Elm. We were in the middle of a desert. And, they called back and they said, the local AAA says they don't do off-road. So we're like, oh, okay. So we got out the sat phone and called 911, local 911.
Oh.
And we're explaining to the operator that answered what happened. We're in, this this area and we're stuck in the
And we're
desert and they're
stupid.
just like, we're gonna need a commercial record because it's a pretty big thing, you know, and everything. And she's like, oh, I'll call Jim. We're like, all right. And in about a half an hour, Jim shows up, okay? Jim looks like he's straight out of Duck Dynasty. He's got a beard down to here, big beer belly, you know. He's wearing overalls and he's coming in. He drives up in his beater Ford truck. It's got alternative paint, rust, you know, and stuff like that, but it's jacked up. And it's got all the axles reinforced. It's got big fat MF tires on it. It's got a winch on the front of it and stuff like that. He's like, oh yeah, I do this several times a week.
Oh, my.
I was like, evidently people are always driving into the desert and getting stuck. So he drove onto the desert and tethered us up and then got way back so that he was on solid ground.
Uh-huh.
And then just flipped the winch and the winch said, "Brrr," just, you know, pulled us out of it. And then once we were far enough out, he turned the truck around and hooked us up. And Steven's sitting at the front. He's like, just keep the wheels straight. And he takes off going like 30 miles an hour. So this van is flying backwards. Steve's like, what's wrong? He's trying to steer. And he takes us like almost all the way back out. And there's this like little spot where there were picnic tables. So I walked up to him afterwards. I'm like, Jim, I love you. He's like, I get that a lot. And I'm like, hey, tell me, did anyone ever think about like posting a sign, you know, like right here by the picnic tables? To go there or caution or, you know, something like that. It's like, yeah, someone did that once and they shot it full of holes. So we're like, all right, that's how we're rolling.
That's all right.
So gratefully, Stephen also travels with piles of cash. And, you know, thanked Jim for his, oh, that's the other thing. He got out there because his truck has to be kind of powerful to pull out these
Right.
big vehicles, you know, so he puts jet fuel in the truck. So he's got the horsepower in it because he's like, yeah, I charge those Coke people like Coca-Cola, you know, like $2,000 to pull them out. Because these drivers come in delivering Cokes and they get stuck in the desert in these big trucks. And he's got to pull them out. Huh? Oh, they're having a little fun once they've delivered their
Oh, I see.
product,
Product.
you know, and they're like, oh, let's go out in the desert. And they take their truck out there and they have to call Jim. Jim comes and pulls them out and he goes, they're corporate. He's like, I'll charge them $2,000 to get them out.
Oh, my gosh.
This program you're talking about, that's what I was just gonna say.
Oh, the question was, did I get pictures of it? Come on, there was 12 photographers there. I have video, I have stills, I have the whole thing fully documented.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
So what did it cost for him to tow you out, do you know?
Stephen slipped in 500,
Okay.
which I think was a
It's
very fine
fair,
price
yeah.
because it could have been way worse.
So good.
Absolutely. And he wasn't gonna charge us and Stephen's like, no, no, no. No, no, no. Well, you need something, because this was a little side hustle for him. He's a retired guy. He was making a solid income in retirement, pulling people out of the desert, you know? So, and then we made our way to Death Valley. It was 115 degrees. There was heat warnings everywhere.
Just last month?
Yeah, June. I'm like, Stephen, why June? Why couldn't we go in February? Well, the same hotel rooms that we had for $150 a night are $500 a night in February. Because everybody wants to go to Vegas when it's cold here and it's warm there. You know, so he's like, suck it up. So, you know, we had plenty of water, we wore appropriate clothing, you know, and it is a dry heat. Although my comeback to that is, so is my convection oven.
Yeah.
You know, that's a dry heat too. But if you stay in the shade and you stay hydrated, stay hydrated is really key.
You go to Scotty's Paddle?
No. No. We went to Red Rocks Canyon, we went to Death Valley, we went to a ghost town, we went to Valley of Fire, and then we did some things around there.
Goes to Death Valley.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know. We didn't name these things. We just went around and shopped.
Name.
Okay. And went to Hoover Dam. Saw that Lake Mead.
Cool.
Yeah, went ziplining down Fremont Avenue.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was a fun trip, and I'm glad to say, check, I did Vegas. Got some good pics too.
Okay, went to the,
Yes, we went to the Neon Museum.
what was this?
Oh, this is a fabulous new performance venue that they have in Vegas. The inaugural act was Live U2.
Were you there?
We photographed it from the outside. It is like this moon that sits on the landscape of Las Vegas. If we had more time, I would have gone in to see something. We just shot it on the horizon in the cityscape of Vegas because they project things on it. So it's
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, I would love to see some show.
Yeah, U2 is in there. They're starting Wizard of Oz, which sounds a little too tame to me. The U2 concert was filmed, so you can see it in sense around in there. I would have settled for that.
A bunch of hospitals in Vegas are getting like people who are like coming in to see it and stuff because the tech is so crazy and sphere that it's making people sick.
Oh, so Bailey just shared that people are having epileptic fits looking at the experience in the sphere. They're getting triggered.
Really?
Hmm.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, you know, and we did see one of the hospitals there, which was a Frank Gehry architectural
Oh,
thing.
wow.
And it's actually the Cleveland Clinic Brain Center. I posted pictures of it, and a friend of mine commented on the picture, were you there for medical support? And they're photographing. I'm like, no, we were there on a photography trip and so forth. But
In
that's a
Cleveland
crazy.
Clinic in Las Vegas?
Yeah, Cleveland Clinics, Cleveland Clinic is
Oh,
now
it's a-
franchised to Mercy Hospital here in St.
Oh,
Louis.
I heard that there was a connection. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But that Geary building, it's one tortured building.
Wow.
It's-
Anything Frank Gehry is pretty out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but some of it is
Some of
more
it's more
tortured
so.
than others.
That's cool.
But I mean, I like the photo pros. You know, I like traveling with them. I like, you know, they attract just a whole different group of photographers. So it's just another networking opportunity. Oh, yeah, they're doing a cruise in the Balkans, a European cruise.
That's, I did the local cruise before, and that's worth doing too.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll be able to go to everything.
Yeah, I mean, those big trips I think are well worth considering, but I really like the within a state or two, these kind of shorter hops. We went up to Door County in the fall for peak color, which was just beautiful, wonderful, you know, just for a few days. Huh?
You'll do that again.
I would think so.
Yeah, I wanna do that one then.
And then in February, we went to Michigan to shoot the frozen lake lighthouses. I mean, I love these, I call these local trips, because you can drive there, you
Sure.
know? And he takes care of the driving and stuff like that, and you just go in the Scooby Mobile and have a good time, take a few pictures, you know? Yeah.
Well, speaking of trips, some of you weren't here when I talked about it earlier on. The possibility to go see the sunflower fields in Lawrence, Kansas. Consider that. It's a fabulous opportunity. You will not see sunflowers anywhere else in Missouri like you see them in Lawrence, Kansas.
When would that be, Yvonne?
Labor Day weekend.
Oh, okay.
The Labor Day, Sunday and Monday, because I have to work Saturday. And it's an easy 2-day trip. You could technically do it in one really long day. Because it's like a 4 to 5 hour drive out there, so, and you'd spend a couple hours in the field, but Lawrence is a nice little town too.
How far is the drive?
About 4, what did you say, 4?
4 to 19 minutes.
Yeah. So.
Oh, could you be a little more precise?
But the sunflowers, that picture that I posted on the Facebook page, I'm trying to do some seasonal stuff for our title pictures. And Lonnie took that, and that is, I mean, it's that spectacular. It's a big, it's an actual working farm. And he just took his crop out, harvested his crop, whatever it was. He does corn and soybeans. and just like 2 or 3 weeks ago, planted the sunflower seeds. And he posted on their Facebook page that they're coming up. And they almost always bloom around Labor Day. So
Does
it's,
he charge people, I guess, to do that?
pardon?
He charges people? I
No,
suppose?
you get to go in for free. Now, they do make a business of it. They have a little store there where they have like local artisans selling stuff. They have a big like pole barn where you can go in and buy sandwiches and drinks and cinnamon rolls of all things. They
Will
have a
this be an
couple,
overnight trip?
yeah, I would prefer to do it.
Yeah,
overnight.
Otherwise,
They have.
that's a long
couple
day.
food Trucks come in. It's just
Mm.
a fun place and you get to walk through the fields. And you know, if you've been to Columbia Bottom and you know how the sunflowers are interspersed with a lot of weeds, you don't see that here. You can walk through the sunflowers without any issue at all. Cause there's no weeds, because he's just plowed the field and planted sunflower seeds. So, yeah, you might find a straggly thing here and there.
Women in Focus trip that we're doing.
Yeah, I'm proposing it as.
And you'll
something we
post
might-
information on our website.
It's on our Facebook.
Oh, it's already
page,
there.
yeah.
Okay.
It's say, mark your
Mm.
calendar, you know, write it
Spend the night.
probably, because doing it in one day is a long day by the time you do meals.
Meal.
Overnight is better.
So we will be responsible for our own hotel reservations, or we try to do it all
They
together?
talk about, I'll probably check into where we might stay as a group. Lonnie and I stayed at a Motel 6 or Motel, like whatever they're called. Yeah, but we found out the next day that there was a murder there the next day, so we're like,
My
"We're
God.
going back there." But I think there's a comfort in,
Yeah. You want
well, it depends on how many of us there are. Oh, to arrange,
to
Help
tell
us, yeah, that would be great. yeah, that Motel 6, yeah, we want to avoid that murder. Well,
Well, it's time.
yeah, tough.
It's like,
If you wanna go.
Hold on a second, come use the microphone so the people online can hear you. We're gonna talk about this new show at Florissant Civic Center.
Hi, everyone online. Hi, nice to see y'all. We have a show posted. If you're interested, it will be in mid-September. It will run through November at the Florissant Performing Arts Center. I posted some photos of but it's a bigger area than those two photos. I've never been there. The woman that I'm dealing with is very excited to have us. I'm trying to figure out how many, because like other places, it's limited space in the sense of we're trying to figure out how many pieces, what size and all that. Now she told me she had some ideas for a theme. She only works Tuesday and Fridays, and so it's sometimes takes us a week sometimes to turn something around. She is working tomorrow, so I was hoping if you want to participate, please go on the Facebook page. If you're not on Facebook, just let me know. I think we had 10 people say yes so far on Facebook, so I'm thinking of telling her like 15. How many did you have at the spiritual center? Yeah. Yeah, and then we had 22 at Graphica, and then
Green Root, how many?
Green Root, we had about 15.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of telling her 15. I don't think if we need more room, getting art is a problem.
I've
So-
been up there. I saw a play up there at Christmas time, and I do remember seeing art, but it's like in the lobby and,
They also have some cases.
okay.
So if you have any little pieces you'd like on an easel, or if you have any type of other things, I don't know what you would do, but if you want to do little canvases whatever you would want to do, you could do. I really wasn't thinking about, she told me there's 2 cases and they're just like little column cases. So anyway, so the main thing is just to give me an idea. It does start in September. So tomorrow I'm going to talk with her. I'm hoping on the weekend this weekend's bad, I'm moving. But I'm hoping that I can, get up there. If anybody else wants to get up there and take a look and tell me what they found, I am all for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm moving this weekend, so
Is it, open, like when they don't have an event there?
I think so. I
Okay,
think so, because she has an office there.
okay.
And the other thing is we will have an opening night. It may not be on the first opening night of the opening night because they have a comic of somebody coming in. So, but she said we're more than happy to do an opening night. And I also posted the guidelines on the Facebook page.
Yep.
I still have problem uploading on the file.
Fine, I saw. it.
Oh, did it go on the file?
I saw
Okay.
it.
I'm probably not patient enough to wait for it to upload is probably the
Mhm.
problem. So anyway, so that's about it, guys. And around Christmas or so, if you guys are interested, I'm thinking about another place we might be able to do too.
Cool.
Thank you, Yvonne, for finding this. What, was it you that came up with this one?
I don't
The
know.
Performing Arts Center, you told me.
Or
who was?
I think it was me, I forget, somebody sent it to me and I think
Okay.
I sent it to you, I don't remember.
Well, whoever did, thank you, because it really makes it so much easier.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's just a matter
It
of me
takes
calling
nothing.
and posting, I'm more than happy to do that.
And Ingrid, thank you.
Yes, and Ingrid, thank you.
Your program and your photos were fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I thoroughly enjoyed that in so many ways. My niece lives in Leeds, Northern England. So it's on my list to go visit her and then do little day trips up to Scotland and.
Oh, that'd be fabulous. Can we get an announcement? before
Yeah,
we
Sure,
disperse?
please.
I just wanted to make an announcement. This is for a competing photography group, St. Louis Camera Club, that I've been involved with for a long time. We've arranged now that we're having an exhibition as part of the Peterson Lectureship. And that is going to open at the Merrimack Gallery in St. Louis Community College on August 28th.
Oh, very nice.
And our work will be on exhibit for a month. There will be an opening and a panel discussion on September 18th. We will be hitting social media and so forth with notices.
Put it on the Facebook page
I will.
because that's the best bet.
I will. So, I just wanted to say Sharpshooters did it last year. That involved Barbie Steps and Val Snyder, if you know those.
Yeah, I know Barbie.
And Photo Flood was once one of the featured groups, and now it's St. Louis Camera Club, but it could be women in.
I was gonna
photos
say.
At some point.
So what's
that's
her
the one-
first name?
Kristen Peterson.
Okay, she comes into Schiller's almost every Saturday.
Yeah. She's a great gal.
Yeah, I've never
And she has
talked to her.
endowed this lectureship. It's
Nice.
a little bit of a lift. We're representing over 51 artists with nearly 90 works
For the photo club?
for a camera club. My commitment to everybody was that everybody would have at least one photo in it. And so
That's great. To mention in our Facebook, I haven't looked on our website for a couple weeks, actually. Did we put the Spiritual Center art photos up on the website? Did we?
It
Okay.
is. Oh, good for you. You are. on
Thank
top
you.
of things.
And I was gonna say, I don't want to be pointing at you as if you should do it all the time. So I was even thinking if maybe someone wanted to help you, that would be nice too. Okay. Well, for you it is. For me, it might be a little challenging.
Okay, shall we
anybody
wrap
wanted
it
to
up?
say, please come. Please
Yes,
come see the
okay.
exhibit.
Yeah.
Mention it in August.
You
too.
might
might
be
be
able to
something.
post it. If not, let me know, send me the information. and
So
I'll
that'll
post it.
be on our social media page. We will send out notices. We'll have.
Yeah, but I'm not
flyers
on the
and-
St. Louis
Yeah,
camera.
put it up on Women in
Social media.
Focus's page.
I will.
Yes.
So
if
that's
you
the way I'll know.
Put in Women in
I
Focus,
will.
send it to me and I'll post it for you.
That's probably
Okay,
your
thanks,
best.
ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Okay.
for coming. And Karen, I'm sorry Diana didn't get in. I missed your text. I'm sorry. You're-
Oh, that's okay.
Talk to you later. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Ingrid, it was wonderful.
Bye-bye. We love you.
Bye.